Hello, welcome to the show. Today I'm answering the question, what tips are there for new retro collectors? I got a message on my Facebook group that says, hey Faith, I have just started collecting retro games again. What tips can you give someone just starting out? It was an interesting question to get, so I really sort of thought about it a little bit before I thought I'd put a video together, because I kind of think the climate has changed. I started collecting over 20 years ago. More than 20 years ago. It was the end of the century that I started really getting collecting, and back then the whole landscape was different. There wasn't really much of an online space. Most things were in shops. Certainly things were a lot cheaper. But let's start looking at some of the top tips that I have for anyone starting retro collecting today. I would start off with asking yourself why. Why do you want to start collecting retro games now in 2020? They're really expensive, especially at the moment with the lockdown and everything that's going on in that space. There's a lot of competition from people out there that are trying to get video games. Some games are just going for crazy money. It takes a lot of time to build a good retro collection. Have you got the time? And have you got the space at home? One of my biggest problems I'm facing at the moment is after losing my game room, I don't have a lot of space. So I've got boxes of stuff, drawers full of things, lots of things under the bed, cupboards full of games and stuff. You've got to really think about, have you got the time and the space and the budget to really go for collecting retro games now? Do you have the passion for it? Is it just about the games, or is it about the collecting itself? Do you like the artwork? Are you interested in the manuals? Do you like the idea of having cool novelty items from back in your past? Ask yourself that question. If it's just about the games, are you better off just emulating and getting a Retro Pi or building a PC that can play all your retro video games? Is it just nostalgia? Like, are you just thinking, oh, something that's been a memory, like maybe you've seen that recent documentary High Score and you fancy playing some games of your past? Ask yourself what it is you're really trying to do. Do you really want to be a collector, or do you want to be a games player? You can be both. I'm certainly both. I play a lot of games, old and new, and I certainly like collecting games. But I think it's really important to ask yourself why. Why now in 2020 do you want to start collecting retro video games? And is it better just to get an emulation device, or are you serious about going for it? My second tip is set yourself a goal. What is it you want to collect? How much money do you want to spend? How much time and how much space are you going to dedicate to it? Let's just say you've gone through the process of thinking, right, it's more than just playing some games to hit a bit of a nostalgia buzz. I am actually interested in collecting things I had in my past. Do you want to collect new games that you maybe not have played and might have missed back in the day? Are you looking for just completely new experiences with systems that you've never tried before? Are you looking for games from other countries, like you want to start importing from Japan? Set yourself a goal. What is it you're collecting? I would say at first it's probably okay just to be buying up anything you see, because you might be getting a flavour and you might not have in your brain right now what it is you actually want to collect. But have that rolling around the back of your mind. There's nothing worse than ending up just with loads of piles of random games, and then a year later thinking, you know what, I wish I hadn't bought a lot of this stuff and I put the money into something I am interested in. Research. I can't stress this point enough. I would say this is probably the most important tip out of the 5 I'm giving today, is research. Research what it is. So you've decided you want to collect retro stuff. You've thought about the why, and have you got the time and the space and the budget? You've thought about what you want to collect. So you have a goal. I want a full Mega Drive set, or I want to go for every SNES sports game, whatever it might be. Now it's time to research that. What do these games cost? What sort of different variants are there? What's the differences between the different countries where these games may have been released? There's loads of websites out there to help with pricing. So if you're in the UK, you can use like CX. You can check eBay sold listings if for worldwide. Also with research, think about where you're going to be buying things. So eBay is an easy one to go to. Things like CEX are easy ones to go to. But there's loads of other shops. There's plenty of people that have little retro shops physically in towns or maybe online. Have a look around. Research where you're going to be able to get stuff. Check Facebook marketplaces, all these kind of things. Check where you can buy the games to make sure that you're getting the best deal that you possibly can. Next tip is definitely make friends. Now, what do I mean by that? You're collecting stuff for you, right? You've decided it's for you, and that's fine. But if you make friends and you're going for like especially bigger sets, if you're going for like a full set of something, making friends in the community is a great way, because they'll remember you. They'll be like, oh, hold on a minute, Faith likes Sonic stuff, so I'm selling this Sonic stuff. They might message you and say, hey, look, I'm going to put up this Sonic stuff. Do you want to have a look at it? Or you'll get tagged in Facebook groups, for example, stuff you collect. Like, let's say you're collecting SNES games and a load got for sale. Some of your friends will tag you and say, hey, look, this is the sort of thing you collect. So you can get in there sometimes and grab those bargains. So it really pays off to make friends, because they'll help divert your attention to where the things you want to buy are actually for sale. Make sure you have lots of friends. I'm not saying you need to be best buddies with everyone, but just have some acquaintances within the retro scene that can help you on your journey. And also, it's just fun. You got someone to talk to your collection about. If you get into Facebook groups, you can share what you're collecting. You can make YouTube videos about what you've picked up and what you're adding to your collection. This one's slightly more nuanced, so I kind of just want to take a bit of a step back. It's not really much of a tip, it's more of a warning. I have been addicted to collecting computer games for a very long time. It's only been the last year or so that I've really been able to face that. And I have like a real hoarding tendency, so I just had big piles of bags of games and cables and controllers and all sorts of different things. So I was just hoovering up any retro game stuff I could find, and it's taken me a long time to break that cycle. The retro collecting can get very addictive, especially where there's so many places to buy now. eBay, Facebook groups, CEX, shops, all these different places. You have such access to it. Just be careful. Make sure you're having fun. I've been there in that space where I'm worrying about cardboard and plastic. So that was my top tips for new retro collectors. I've been Retro Faith. Thanks for watching. Keep it retro.